So I had given you last time some background about this book, the Book of Death, Death in the Forest, Canto 3, Book 8, Canto 3. Now, there is something very interesting in the sense that we have just started the Book of Death, and 2 days ago was the full moon Purnima, which is traditionally associated with the death of Satyavan. Jyeshta Purnima or Purnima in the month of June, full moon in the month of June, that is associated with the death of Satyavan, when Savitri gets his soul back from Yama. So the tradition, as a usual thing, all ladies, they worship Savitri and pray for long life for their husbands. So that is sort of a tradition, which is quite important in a way. But I was quite happy that this coincidence, in June we are taking Book of Death, and it is also happening exactly at the same time, you see. So now there is kind of a occult basis that we have now this Book of Death in front of us, you see. This is one of the most mysterious books, and Shaibandu has left it more so by not telling us everything about death in a way. He calls it Book 8, Canto 3. What happened about Canto 1 and Canto 2, that he has left in suspense all along. But we saw something of it last time. Now, basically, as the tradition goes, the story of Savitri, as we have in the Mahabharata, it narrates how the particular moment, the particular event occurs. And we'll quickly go to that story first and then proceed further. The story of Savitri is narrated in the Mahabharata by Rishi Markandeya, and the narration is to Yudhishthira, the eldest of the Pandavas. Now, therefore, he says, Markandeya said, "O Yudhishthira, with the rolling of several lunar days, at the time was passing, the fated hour when Satyavan must die was also approaching soon." Now, this is important. Several lunar days, in the sense that in it also is the fullness of Savitri herself. In the beginning, Vyasa describes how young Savitri grows. She is born as a daughter to Vashupati, and how she grows in the palace. And there he says, the way the moon advances in its phases and grows to its fullness, it is that fullness of lunar presence which is what we see in Savitri here. And therefore he emphasizes several lunar days, that they are now sort of maturing up to the fullness of the full moon. Man, in her joyous manifestation, she will show what she is here for. You see. Savitri was counting down the day with each lost day. See, Narad had already told that on this day, from this moment onward, exactly 1 year after this, Satyavan is to die. So that is a very important thing. He had made the statement from this moment onward. So the moment is fixed. The marking is already there. The beginning is already marked there, you see. So Savitri is able to calculate now at what moment he will die. And as we have seen earlier, this happens when Narad visits Ashwapati at the noon hour. And then this is good. So Savitri was counting down the day with each lost day what Narad had foretold about the impending doom. Those words were ever fixed in her heart. The virtuous and noble lady, now much worried when she saw that only 4 days are left, that after 4 days Satyavan is to die, the fated day will come, undertook the 3-night vow of standing night and day at one single place. That is what is called the Tri-Ratra Vrata, standing at a given single place without moving from that spot for 3 days continuously, 72 hours. That is the 3-night vow. Now, see, this is Vyasa's story is narrated as a story. The episode of Savitri in the Mahabharata is narrated like a story. But it is also a loaded story. It is a symbolic story. Every detail in it has some kind of a spiritual connotation in it. The 3-night vow. What is this 3-night vow? It is not just for there nothing. 3-night vow. And the 3 nights belong to the primordial aspects of our nature. The physical, the vital, the mental. These are the 3 nights with which we are living, and we have to stand firm against these 3 nights. Then only you can move forward, you see. So every detail is kind of loaded there, you see. So that way, when she is doing 3-night vow, indirectly, without elaborating, Vyasa has already told us that Savitri has done yoga. What we have in book 7, the book of yoga, he is not giving the details of the yoga in his story, but he has already told 3-night vow. It means that it is understood now. Whatever is to be done is done with that, you see. Now, this 3-night has another reference. It's not exactly a vow, but 3-night, Tri-Ratra. You must have heard of Katha Upanishad. In the Katha Upanishad, Nachiketa was given by his father to Yama. When he was performing yajna, he was distributing gifts to everybody present here, his father. And then Nachiketa asked him, whom you are giving me, to whom you are giving me. And then he said, I am giving you to Yama. He goes to Yama. Yama doesn't happen to be in his palace at that time. And he has to wait at the gate for 3 nights before the arrival of Yama. Before the arrival of Yama. 3 nights he has to wait there at the gate to meet Yama. So 3 nights again is very significant in that sense, you see. There is a connotation, there is already kind of a charge in that phrase, you see. And then when he comes there, he is of course received and he is granted boons. And he said, what do you want? You have been living here for 3 nights. I am sorry I was not here and I could not welcome you properly and all that sort of a thing. You are a Brahmin and I should have welcomed you properly, that sort of a thing, you see. And then he is asking for boons. What boon do you want? Then he says, because you have been waiting for 3 nights, I will give you 3 boons, you see. Savitri also gets later on a few boons in the book of Everlasting Day, you see. Now, there, first boon which he asked is, from death, I would like to go back to my father, which is a great thing, you see. That itself is a very powerful boon, you see. From death, I would like to go back to my father, you see. And with that, let my father acquire all spiritual merit, spiritual peace, spiritual illumination, so that his tapasya progresses further, you see. That is the first. For Yama, there is no problem. Okay, given, you see, granted. Then by the second boon, he is given the power of re-death. What he calls re-death. Death is under your control. When you want to die, how you want to die, it's entirely your control, you see. Re-death, you see. He's given that. And by the third boon, but then in the meanwhile, Yama tells him, see what you are asking. He wanted Brahma Jnana, Vijnana. He says it's very too difficult to advance. And instead of that, what I will give you is this necklace from my neck with 1,000 jewels. Take the necklace from his neck with 1,000 jewels and gives it to Nachiketa. Now again, what it means is basically necklace with 1,000 jewels, 1,000. That is symbolically the richness of the overmind world. So he has already given through that process all the overmind knowledge to him. But then Nachiketa says, I am sorry, I don't need that necklace. I don't need that necklace. I want that by which I will know whether a person when he dies, whether he is dead or living. I want to know when a person dies, whether he is dead or he is living. That is what I want to know. And then the whole Upanishad arose from that point onward, you see. Because if he is dead, then finish, what is there? If he is not dead, then what are you there for? See, that is the kind of a dilemma he is putting to Yama. And then Yama expounds the entire process of knowledge to Nachiketa. So that is the power of the three nights. When you have conquered those three nights, then you really get the higher knowledge, the supramental knowledge, the brighter knowledge. And that is what Savitri is now ready with that. The king, when he heard of this difficult vow, that is Savitri's father-in-law, Dhimasena, he was dissuading Savitri, look, Savitri, it's a very difficult vow. And it is not very easy to carry through. And you are a young girl, feeble girl. I don't know how successfully you will be able to perform this vow. O princess, what you have taken upon yourself is very hard and severe. To remain standing throughout like this is extremely difficult to accomplish, obviously, you see. Then Savitri assures him, be not disturbed about it. I shall be able to carry the vow without blame. Only a firm resolve makes it go through successfully, and I have initiated it with that firm resolve. So please don't dissuade me. And then obviously Dhimasena will say, look, you are trying to do something meritorious, punya karma. How can I come in your way or performing the holy act, the sacred act, punya karma? I cannot. Okay, go ahead. But I bless you that you will be able to carry the vow successfully, you see. Saying so, the great-minded Dhimasena retired, and Savitri, standing erect on a fixed spot, appeared to be as though she was a straight wooden post. Oh Yudhishthira, tomorrow the husband is to die. It was with this thought and filled with an intense grief, Savitri remained standing even as the last night of the vow was about to be over. Another 12 hours. Next day, knowing that it had arrived, the fated day had arrived, well with the sunrise she completed the morning rituals and lit a bright fire and made a sacrificial offering to the fire. So she is kindling the yajna. She is offering ahutis to the yajna early morning. So she is already an accomplished lady in spiritual practices. She knows how to do all these things, you see. She has lit the fire, the yajna is kindled, well kindled, and she is offering her prayers, her ahutis to the yajna. So that is indirectly has already told again how Savitri has performed her yoga, you see, without going into the details. Yajna is the most powerful thing, you see. Then she gave her respects and obeisances to all the elders and to the sages and to the in-laws. In the whole ashram area, great sages were there. She goes from hut to hut, from thatch to thatch, pays her respects to them. Reverentially, she stood in front of them. All those dwellers in the sacred forest or the Vanaprastha ashrama, where the holy things are being done, grown in austerity, blessed Savitri. The sages wish for her good, auspicious things and a life without widowhood. Life without widowhood. Avaidya, without widowhood, you see. Entering, now this is the most important thing Savitri is doing. Entering into the yoga, you see, they have blessed her. You will have life without being a widow. Saubhagyavati, as we call it, you see, you'll be always like that. And she holds on to their words, Savitri. The yoga of meditation, she goes into meditation and fixes those words in her soul. Saubhagyavati, those words she fixes in her soul constantly. Entering into the yoga of meditation and saying to herself, be it so. In words, she is now assured, so to say, of winning victory over Yama, over death. She, in her heart of hearts, repeated the words of benediction, yoga of meditation. She was an adept in the yoga of meditation. Dhyana Yoga Parayana. Savitri is Dhyana Yoga Parayana. Dhyana Yoga Parayana. She is an expert in the yoga of meditation. Knowing that particular time and that moment, as foretold by Narad to be arriving, the princess was filled with great grief in thought. Obviously, you see, the human Savitri, you see, I mean, in a couple of hours, my husband will be no more there. She knows it now, you see. Oh, Yudhishthira, finding thus the princess seated lonely and quiet, the father-in-law and the mother-in-law spoke with loving tenderness to Savitri, obviously, see. And then they asked her, look, Savitri, you have been carrying on this vow for the last 3 days without taking any food. Now it is time for you to break the fast. Take food. Complete your vrata. And then Savitri replies, no, I shall not take food in the morning. It is only when the sun has departed and my desire is fulfilled that I shall eat. On the fated day, morning, she refuses to take anything at all. Only the evening, when my desire is fulfilled, then only I will eat. This is my heart's resolve, and at present, and I shall go by act. Well, it goes on like that. Then on the 50th day in the morning, Satyavan is about to go to the forest to do his routine work of collecting the flowers, collecting the fruits, collecting the wood and all that sort of a thing. He is ready to go to the forest. At that time, Savitri urges him, today you will not go unaccompanied by me. You will not go to the forest without me. And she pleads to him, let me also come with you today. He does not know what for she is asking, but she is insisting on that. But Satyavan said, oh sweet and beautiful, never have you been to the forest earlier, and the paths are rough and wounding. Besides, when you have become so feeble with your vow and fast, how can you then walk? Well, that's a kind of a natural situation. You do that thing, you see. But Savitri says, neither languid nor exhausted do I feel due to this vow and the fasting, but full of eagerness because I am accompanying you. I get all the energy. Refuse me not this request of mine. Let me also come with you today. He does not know what for she is insisting. But then Satyavan says, look, it is not that I who will give the permission. The permission has to come from the elders in the house. If you are so desirous to come, I shall do what is pleasing to you. But that I be not blamed for this, well, that is the way of saying, I will not be. Obtain permission from the venerables, from her parents-in-law. Then only you can come with me. Without that, no. It's not like modern girl. See. Then Markandeya said, then Savitri, the observer of the difficult vow, went to her in-laws and with due respect requested them this way. Presently, my husband is leaving for the great forest to gather fruits. A desire impels me to go also with him, if by the respectable mother and father-in-law I shall be permitted to do so. I cannot bear, even for a moment, separation from him any more. Your son is going to the forest to collect fruits and flowers and sacrificial wood for the sacred fire, as are needed by his revered teachers. So it behoves me not to stop him from this. Today I am going to break my fast. I cannot stop him because he is doing something in the service of the elders. I can't stop him. I cannot come their way. Had it been for something else, I would not have allowed him to go to the forest. Besides, it is almost for a year that he did not step out of the ashram premises. But now a curiosity has arisen in me to see the forest. That is the pretext she is making, of course, full of trees and flowers. And then Vimarsana says, ever since Savitri's father left here her as my daughter-in-law, never has she made any request for anything. That is how the daughter-in-law would live in the house. I do not recollect her having done so any time, and therefore let the young wife have what she is longing for. How can I refuse her request now? But, oh my dear daughter, be not inadvertent while following the way with Satyavan. It's a rough view, it's a thick forest. You have to be very careful about all that things, etc., etc. Thus, obtaining the permission from the in-laws, the triumphant lady, Yashaswini, She has obtained the permission from her parents-in-law, you see. She has become triumphantly, Yashaswini, triumphant lady, went with her husband, but while she appeared to be smiling and happy, in her bosom she carried, as ever, a deep affliction, because she knew what is going to happen shortly. She saw large eyes, eyed as she was, different parts of the forest, varied in aspects and beautiful everywhere, etc. And Satyavan is showing to her all kind of beauty. Yet, with steadfast look, she kept a close vigil on all the movements of her husband, even as she was going. And then Satyavan, then he, well, let's say, this is a very beautiful description, in fact. Yet, with a steadfast look, she kept a close vigil on all the movements of her husband, remembering well the words of the heavenly sage. She knew for certain the death of her husband with the arrival of time shortly. She, walking with a soft and gentle gait, had her heart as if divided into two. On the one hand, she is in the company of her lover, and on the other hand, she sees his death in another hour. So she is divided into two already. Now, this is a very beautiful description which you also have more or less along these lines in Sri Aurobindo Savitri. And then what happens here is, then he, Satyavan, lustrous in strength. He is a young man, very beautiful, well built, shining personality, and helped by his wife, collected a basket full of fruits and began chopping the firewood for the sacrifice. But while hewing the branches, he started sweating profusely. And as a result of that hard labor, suffering a severe headache. Distressed as he was, he went closer to his loving wife and in that affliction told her, "There is a cleaving headache that has come to me due to this hard work." Not that he is not used to this hard work, but he is excited because his young wife is there with him. He wants to finish off quickly that thing so that he can give more time to her. And therefore he gets exhausted, tired. "Oh Savitri, all my limbs are in agony, and there is a burning sensation in my heart. I find myself gravely indisposed. Oh, one of few words, of few Mita Bhashini." She is a lady of few words, Mita Bhashini, of few words. "It appears to me as though sharp spikes are being driven through my head. I wish to lie down. Oh, blessed and auspicious Kalyani, Savitri. It is she who will bring all Kalyana to me, all the auspicious things of life. As I had no strength to remain standing." Savitri, finding him so, immediately went closer to her husband and sat on the ground and took his head in her lap. The description here parallels to a large extent what we are reading here. We'll see that thing also as we proceed further. But there are very fine details here. See, the important thing is he is working hard, he is exhausted. The summer noon is there, in the month of June, in the north particularly, see, and he gets suddenly tired of that. So the physical cause of death, Satyavan, there has to be a physical cause of death. Occult, of course, he has to die, but there has to be a physical cause. The physical cause of death is this exhaustion, overworking, plus intensity of heat, a kind of a sunstroke, if at all. It is not snake bite, it is not hitting accidentally his leg with the axe. It is due to heat. And that is why everywhere in Savitri we have the long forenoon noon was here. Forenoon, noon was here. Noon is everywhere, at every place, important description about noon. Savitri's marriage takes place at noon. Narad makes announcement at noon, and summer noon is intense, and that noon is now tied up with the death of Satyavan. So that is the physical cause of death. That has to be. So the poet is also very careful in not dismissing the physical causes of these occurrences. Within a short while, well, he says, remembering what Narad had said, that devout woman, observer of the ascetic practices, began reckoning the day, the time, the hour, the moment. Veda, Divasa, Muhurta, Kshana, that is what you call it. Vedam, Divasa, Kshanam, Muhurtam, everything she is counting minutely, and the poet is very particular about that thing. Time, he says hour, moment, day of course is there already, you see. The exact moment is also fixed. Within a short while, she saw present there a bright person in red attire. Savitri is there under the tree. Satyavan's head is in her lap, and there now she sees somebody there coming here. Within a short while, she saw present there a bright person in red attire, with a tiara on his head, huge, big, bright, brilliant crown. Handsome and brilliant he looked. So this Yama is not just a frightful figure. He is something who is great, grand, glorious, imposing personality also. As though the sun god himself had appeared there. He was so bright, sun god himself. Actually, Yama is the common name, but he is also called Vaivasvata. Yama is also called Vaivasvata. Vaivasvata means the son of Vivasvana. Vivasvana is one of the sons, sun gods. So he is the son of the sun god, in that sense. Vaivasvata. So that is the bright figure whom Savitri is seeing there. His body, dark in hue, was lustrous, and his eyes were blood red, and he had a noose in his hand which inspired great fright. Standing close behind Satyavan, he was steadfastly gazing at him, at Satyavan in her lap, you see. She, noticing him, laid aside her husband's head on the ground, and as a mark of respect to the sun god, she stands up. With folded hands and trembling in her heart, spoke in an anxious, longing voice to him. Savitri said to him, I take you to be some noble god, as you have form other than the human. If it pleases you, pray tell me who you are and what you propose to do. Oh God, she's questioning him, you see. And Yama replies to Savitri, Oh Savitri, as you are devoted to your husband, and as you practice ascesis, tapasya, I can converse with you. I will not talk to a lowly woman, a person who is holy, who is accomplished, who is a realized soul. I will go and talk to him. Know me, O virtuous lady, to be Yama. Your husband Satyavan, earth-born as he is a mortal. He is earth-born. Earth is also called Mrityu Loka, the mortal world. He is earth-born. His life is over, and I have come to bind him forcibly and take him away with me. Yes, this is what I propose to do. She was asking, no, what are you coming? Now here, you see, there is something very interesting, and very quickly all these things are said. about Yama's description here. See, on the one hand, you have got a bright person in red attire, luminous, handsome, brilliant, etc., sun god. And on the other hand, you have got his body dark in hue. His body is dark in hue. In other words, we have here the double aspect of Yama. As the giver of law and upholder of law, he is firm and dark. But the law originates from some higher source, from some transcendental world, and therefore he is bright and luminous also. See. What I am trying to say here is that Vyasa and the traditions, although they describe Yama like this, they don't distinguish clearly, distinctly, the two aspects of Yama, the dark aspect and the bright aspect. Now that is exactly what we have in Savitri. What Savitri means in Shyamandur Savitri in the beginning is a dark aspect of Yama. The dark in hue, it is that shadow, it is that aspect what we see in Shyamandar's Savitri from book 9 and book 10. But then in book 11, Yama is transfigured. What we see here there is a bright aspect of Yama. It is that bright Yama who becomes the giver of boons to Savitri. It is he who gives boons to Savitri in book 11, you see. So, now the elements are present here, they have not been properly expanded, or perhaps that is not, he is telling you a story, that's all. Therefore, he is not going to those details. But here we have that thing very clearly mentioned. The inconscient born Yama is dark, he is the shadow or the void of nothingness, he is dark. But whose shadow is it? It is the shadow of the Supreme Himself. When that thing goes away, when that is dissolved, then what do you see behind that Yama? Only the bright Supreme, the transcendental Supreme Himself, Ishvara Himself, you see. That is what we have in book 11. And then he becomes the giver of boons to Savitri, you see, from that point. So these elements are present in the tradition, in the original story also like that, you see. Savitri has a long chat, so to say, with Yama, and finally, in a way, she convinces him. It is a kind of a logomachy, argument against argument. But each argument, what we call debate, each argument is charged with an occult force. When you speak something, what you are really doing is you are not arguing, you are throwing some occult force to those words. So it is a clash of occult forces of the bright and of the dark, which is what we have got in book 10, later on here you see. Now, well, this is the description we have got in Shyamandur Savitri. Something had come there, conscious, vast, and dire. She says conscious and of course dire, both. Near her, she felt a silent shade immense, chilling the noon. See again, chilling the noon with darkness for its back. Now you can imagine if the noon, chilling the noon is also indicating the intensity of noon. If the full chilling has to be there, the noon has to be really intense. So it is that intense noon, that hot noon in which Satyavan was working, became the physical cause of death of Satyavan, chilling the noon. An awful hush had fallen upon the place. Once Yama arrives there, death arrived there, an awful hush had fallen upon the place. There was no cry of birds, no voice of bees. So the whole place is absolutely silent. Even the birds, the animals, everything have fallen silent. That is the power of his presence there. A terror and an anguish filled the world, not only the forest, not only the Shalva woods, the whole place. A terror and an anguish filled the world, as if annihilation's mystery, see, this is the whole thing, annihilation's mystery had taken the sensible form. A cosmic mind looked out on all from the formidable eyes. Now, this is the significant phrase, cosmic mind, 133.39. So, that shadow which is standing in front of Savitri is a cosmic power, power of the universe, not a transcendental. It is not a transcendental power. It is a force operating in the forces of nature in the cosmos here. That is death. That is death. He has indicated clearly cosmic mind. Looked out on all from formidable eyes, contemning all with his unbearable gaze, and with immortal lips. Of course, he is immortal. And vast brow, immortal lips. Of course, the question would arise, if he is immortal, can Savitri really defeat him, destroy him, kill him? He cannot. She cannot do that. Nobody can do that. He is immortal. What Savitri can do is, the form which he had taken, the form which that immortal has taken, that form can be dissolved. And his true self can be seen. His true self can be seen. That is what happens later on, you see. He saw in his immense destroying thought all things and beings as a pitiful dream, rejecting with calm disdain nature's delight, the worldless meanings of his deep regard, voicing the unreality of things. It is this thing, it is because of the presence of death that whatever is here looks to us unreal because of death. Mithya. Why it is mithya? Why it is false here? Because of the presence of death. It is the presence of death which makes the whole universe here mithya. An illusion. Unreality of things. In fact, that is what Mother says, no? That as long as death is present, falsehood will always remain there. The presence of death means falsehood. That is what we say, mithya, it's all false. And life that would be forever, but never was, and its brief and vain recurrence without cease, as if from a silence without form or name, the shadow of a remote, uncaring God, shadow is capital. That is what he is. He is a shadow of the transcendental truth. Doomed to his not illusory universe, cancelling its show of idea and act in time and its initiation of eternity. She knew that visible death was standing there. Savitri knows her husband is in her lap there, and the gentleman is standing there in front of her, and she has recognized now, yes, he has come. She knew that visible death was standing there, and Satyavan had passed from her embrace. Satyavan had passed from her embrace. That is the last line of this book, book 8, book of death. Satyavan had passed from her embrace. Now, this is a way of saying. What I mean to say is the story is not complete with this. She knew that he had passed. He has not actually yet passed. He has not actually yet passed. She knew, yes, it's almost all over. But physically, occultly, in the process of operation, he is still there. And later on, in the next canto, 135.18, Savitri is holding her husband tightly in her clasp, his body. He is standing there and she is not loosening the grip around him. And then Yama says something to her. Will thou forever keep that passionate hold thyself, O creature doomed like him to pass? Tomorrow you will also die like him. And will you hold him tightly around that, denying his soul death's calm and silent rest? You are holding him back, you are denying him the calm which death gives him. Tomorrow you are also going to die. How can you hold him back like that, you see? This is the kind of an argument he is making to Savitri at that time. Relax thy grasp. This body is ours and thine. Yes, this deha, this body, physical, is yours. Have it, but his spirit now belongs to me. His soul belongs to me now. Relax thy grasp. This body is ours and thine. His spirit now belongs to a greater power than earth. Woman, thy husband suffers. See, Savitri is not loosening the grip around the body of Satyavan. And Yama tells very firmly to her, look, Savitri, by holding him tight backward, you are making him suffer more. He is already dead. You cannot stop that now. But if you try to hold him back by your passion, by your emotion, all that, you are making him suffer more. Woman, thy husband suffers. Loosen your grip. Let him be free now of your grip. Otherwise, you will suffer more. Woman, thy husband suffers. It's a very powerful line, actually. Savitri, of course, she understands the contents of that, the meaning of that, the significance of that. She realizes that by having a passionate hold on him, I am making him suffer more. So that is not a way of keeping him back with me. There has to be some other way by which I can bring him back with you. Woman, thy husband suffers. Savitri drew back her heart's foes that clasped his body still, where from her lap renounced on the smooth grass softly it lay, as often before sleep, etc., etc. When from the couch she rose in the white dawn, called by her daily task, the way early every day morning she gets up from the class of Satyavan and starts her work in the same way. Now too, as if called, she rose and stood gathered in lonely strength. Yes, not by holding him back that way, I can help him. Only by now bringing full force, her lonely strength, that I can win him back this evening. She rose and stood gathered in lonely strength, like one who drops his mantle for a race. See, what a beautiful simile. See, now the race is about to begin, and she's throwing the battle. See, you can imagine what poetry it is, and how Shebendhu is also up to date in his elaboration and description. He knows the sports, he knows the games, see, see. And where is the signal? The gun has to fire for the race to begin. See. Motionlessly swift. Now, this is the beautiful oxymoron, one of the most beautiful oxymoron. Motionlessly swift. When a fan is running really fast, you think that it is still. See, motionlessly swift. She knew not to what course. Yes, the race is beginning, but where it is going to lead, she has no knowledge of that. Her spirit above on the crypt summit of her sacred form, like one left sentinel on a mountain place, etc. We'll read this again later on. This is the description. Then death, the king, leaned boundless down. Now at this point when Savitri has loosened the grip around him, the real death occurs of Satyavan in 135.24. See. Then death, the king, he is a master, leaned boundless down as lays night over tired lands when evening pales and fading gleams break down the horizon's wall. Not yet the dusk grows mystic with a moon. See again that moon, see, mystic moon. The dense and awful goddess rose erect. So he's standing now, he was laying down there and now getting up, standing up. The dense and awful goddess rose erect. From his brief stooping to his touch on earth, bending down for a minute and getting up, brief down. That's the only moment when he will touch the earth physically. And like a dream that wakes out of a dream, so you are seeing a dream in a dream, and you are waking in that dream, the next dream. Forsaking the poor mold of that dead clay, another luminous Satyavan arose. So, this Satyavan is no more there now, this body here, and what Satyavan is now with Yama, with death, is a luminous Satyavan. The main concern of death is the luminous Satyavan. He is not worried about your mortal Satyavan. He is not worried about your mortal. The real luminous Satyavan which is there, the real I which is there in me, that is his concern. Not otherwise, you see. Another luminous Satyavan arose, starting upright from the recumbent earth, as if he is now getting up from this earth, as if someone over viewless borders stepped, emerging on the edge of unseen world. He has to move now to the unseen world. See. In the earth's day, this is noon, you see, in the earth's day, the silent marvel stood, silent marvel, that is the luminous Satyavan. It is he who is standing there, between the mortal woman and the God. So, you have luminous Satyavan there, you have Savitri here, mortal. In between these two is standing death. So, who brings the real separation between the lovers? Death. They are on either side. It is not that first is death, then Satyavan, and then Savitri. It is not like that. It is Satyavan, then death, then Savitri. He is standing in between the two. In earth's day, the silent marvel stood between the mortal woman and the God. Such seemed as if one departed came wearing the light of a celestial shape. Yes, he has come from heaven. That is how he looks, that luminous Satyavan. Splendidly alien to the mortal air. Now, well, that is what we have got, not in this canto, but in the next canto, in the next book, you see, not in book 8. We have here the description of luminous Satyavan. So, what is it that death has really done? He has done a great thing. He has done a very splendid thing. It is because of death that the true Satyavan is revealed to us. The luminous Satyavan became visible to us because of death. Until then, he was in the human shape in the cover veils. So that is the most miraculous thing death has done. It is he who reveals the real Satyavan. What a wonderful contribution of death in that sense, you see. If only you realize that, you see. Now, in the Ramayana, there are 2 episodes pertaining to this one. Very beautiful. And see how charmed, how rich the spiritual knowledge, the occult knowledge is there, and how we see that thing also in Savitri in a different way altogether. The royal exiles, Rama, Lakshmana and Sita. They are going from place to place, moving from ashrama to ashrama like that, forest to forest, from vana to vana. At one time, at one point, they come to a place which was occupied by Rishi Sharabhanga, all the three, Rishi Sharabhanga. There is an episode of Rishi Sharabhanga in the Ramayana. He is a Rishi who has done great tapasya and he has accomplished whatever he has to accomplish by his tapasya, and now he can depart from this place and live in the world of immortality. But how does he go? Indra himself sends him a chariot to pick him up. Come, ride this chariot and come to heaven. The Lord of Swarga, of heaven, he himself sends his chariot to him and tells him, yes, come, you are ready now to go to heaven. There is an episode of Rishi Sharabhanga in the Ramayana. Indra's chariot has come to pick him up and take him to the heavenly abode. But the Rishi refuses to ride that chariot. He knew that soon Rama would be visiting that part of the forest and he delayed his departure. See, that is another way by which a poet, a rishi, a yogi is telling us that this Rama is an avatar. He is not naming it that way, but he is sufficiently indicating that he is somebody definitely exceptional. He is an avatar. Rishi knew that soon Rama would be visiting that part of the forest and he delayed his departure to have his darshan, to have his blessings of the avatar himself. There in the hermitage was spiritually realized souls and they always appeared of just 25 years in age. They had done such great tapasya, they were always at the age of 25 years. They had lived 100 years, 150 years, but they really looked like youth of 25 years. And that is exactly what has happened in the case of Satyavan. He is to die at the age of 25. He has already done his tapasya of years and years and years. He is now ready to move to the next step. See, he said 25 years. Now, it's very significant again. You link up that thing now with the age of Satyavan. He is to die about that time, you see. He has almost completed his brahmacharya. He has stepped into the grahastha. That is 25 years. And his life is to begin. So he is always that. He remains always that. He dies that thing, means he always remains that now, you see. This is indeed the permanent age of the gods, 25 years. So the gods are always 25. So if you ask, what is your age? He said 25. Yeah, you can always tell. Age of the gods. Devanam Vayo, that is the age of the god. Devanam Vayo. When Rama met the Rishi Sharabhanga, he told him, I had known you to be present nearby. Rishi is telling to Rama that I had understood that you are here around in this vicinity, in this forest here. I had known you to be present nearby and did not want to go to Brahmaloka. The chariot of Indra will be taking me. I refused to ride the chariot. In seeing you, I have already won the auspicious immortal worlds. By having your darshana of the avatar, I already received the immortality, the fruits of immortality. Rama assured him he would bring all the worlds to him. That is the blessing, that is the boon he is giving to Rishi. Soon the accomplished Rishi lit a bright fire in the presence of Rama. Lit a bright fire. That is the yajna. He is offering himself as an ahuti to the yajna. Lit a bright fire and plunged into it in the presence of Rama. Then, kindling the fire and pouring oblations of ghee with chants, he himself doing and plunging into the fire. Sharabhanga, of great luster, entered the fire, and he became a boy looking fire. Pavaka, Sankusha Kumara, he is Pavaka Kumara, young boy, he looked like that. Rising from that heap of fire, Sharabhanga shone bright. He crossed worlds of fire worshippers and rose to Brahmalok. So what you really see here is again the luminous Sharabhanga. What Satyavan, luminous Satyavan is there, he has offered himself to the fire, and what rises there now is the luminous Sharabhanga there you see. Now there is another famous episode in the Ramayana about Shabari. Most of us know that village lady, old lady, how she received. At that time, of course, Sita was abducted, and only Rama and Lakshmana, they were going from place to place, and they had arrived in the Pampa forest, somewhere in the Karnataka, maybe around Hampi, where was the ashram of Rishi Matanga. And the Rishi Matanga, there was one devotee, one lady, Shabari, of low caste, serving them, and in that process she acquired spiritual merit. Yeah. Shabari was a hunter's daughter, but she renounced the world and ran away to meet a sage. See, where from the call will come, how will come, nobody can say. At the foot of the Rishyamukha mountain, she met Rishi Matanga, who accepted her as his disciple. She served him with devotion for long years, even as she became old and weak. When Matanga was about to abandon his body, Shabari also wanted to join him to abandon the body. But the sage gave him another advice. He told her that soon Rama would be arriving at the hermitage, and she must receive him with due honor and devotion. She must receive him with due and honor. She was given that instruction by Rishi Matanga. Shabari waited for the arrival. She would go around and gather fruits for Rama, as we know commonly, and make sure that these were sweet. When Rama reached the hermitage, she said, "Today had the fruition of my austerities borne the reward of your visit. All the tapasya, all the service I had done is phalashruti, it has received the fruit of that, you see. It is also the reward of my birth. Now, O Rama, let me ascend to heaven by your grace." Casting herself into the fire, she rose to great heaven alone. Again, she lights the fire, plunges into the fire, and then what do you see again? Luminous Shabari. Luminous Shabari. Ascend to heaven by your grace. Casting herself into the fire, she rose to great heaven alone, rose like a blazing flame. Shabari joined the rishis she had served in the hermitages. From leaping tongues to the fire arose another luminous Shabari. Death was significantly instrumental in revealing true Shabari. Who that lady is that who was serving them? It is Death who has really told us what she is, you see, who was until then invisible and unknown to all of us. And then, of course, we have seen how Satyavan, the luminous Satyavan, arises from the grave. Tell you something different quickly. Shibandu's own handwriting, facsimile of his own handwriting. Now, this we'll discuss in more detail, but let me just quickly give some background. I will read the first line. Their careless glories, you can make out, their careless glories, though it seemed to her indifferent doom, in heartless splendors clad. That is the first two lines. They are careless glories. Second word is careless. Third is glories, comma, though it seemed to her indifferent doom, indifferent doom. Doom, you see here is dooms. Doom. In heartless splendor clad. Now let me first give you the little background of what I am trying to tell you here. Basically, Book of Death was written by Shuvendu originally during the Arya period. So this draft, what we have here, belongs to the year 1916-17. 1916-1917. This particular thing. Yeah, rather 1917, 1918. Yeah, this particular draft. Now, it had remained more or less like that without Shuvendu doing anything for a long time, almost for 30 years, almost for 25 years, till 1940s, when on one particular occasion it was taken up by Nirodhanan and read out to Shuvendu, this particular draft. And then there he had made a few dictations. In fact, what you have here in the margins, they are all in Nirodharan's handwriting. These things. The main text is in the center part of this thing. And it was around 1947 that it was at this particular stage. Then, in 1950, after doing the last revision of the Book of Fate, as I told you, around 15th November 1950, he had asked Nirodhanan what else is remaining. And then he said, the Book of Death and the Epilogue. The Book of Death and the Epilogue. And there at that time, Shuvendu said, oh, we shall see about them later on. And I told you that later on was not supposed to come, etc., etc. We have seen many times that it was not supposed to come. So it remained there at that point. Now, the background of this page, in fact, this particular manuscript or the book of what we have got here runs into about 7 pages. And what we have here, this dividing line is halfway of those 7 pages. Means there are 3 pages before and 3 pages after this one, you see. Now the first 3 pages up to that dividing line which is there, that arrow is there, up to that dividing line have become, in fact at that time when this was done in 1947, the Book of Yoga did not exist. Book of Yoga did not exist at all. But the first half of this 7-page manuscript up to that point became a part of the first canto of the Book of Yoga, the Joy of Union. And the second part from that line down below is what we have presently as the Book of Death from this point on. So, this dictation, Book of Death, 3, Death in the Forest, what we have got here in the margin, in Nirodharan's hand, was dictated by Shuvendu, showing that the earlier part will be a part of the Book of Yoga, and the later part is what we'll have in Book 8 here. Book 8 here. So that is the little background of this thing. Now, although the first half of this 7-page manuscript became a part of the book of yoga, that was also revised and elaborated considerably. It is not only these 4 pages that constitute Canto 1 of Book 7, you see. But from this point onward, it has remained practically as it was in the final Savitri, what we have here, you see. You can see here clearly, Book of Death 3, Death in the Forest, in 1947. In 1947. And you also see here 2 tick marks. It means that while this was being typed, some doubt had arisen, what is this? 3, where from? Suddenly, like that kind of thing. And she able to confirm that, yes, it is 3. It is Book of Death 3. That is what the tick mark means. It has to be retained as it is. And you can see here that P on the left hand side, para, break from the previous and the other part, you see. And you have got here this line, now it was here in this great golden dawn. That is the first line of the Book of Death. No, they have gone back to Book 1 of, Canto 1 of Book 7.
So that became now the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have gone back to this one. So basically, this line, now it was here, this great golden dawn, in this script, you have a very distinct full stop after dawn. All the earlier editions of Savitri, 1951, 1954, 1972, all the earlier editions of Savitri had removed that full stop. It is not present there. But it has been restored in the revised edition of 1993, that full stop. Now, it is a question of some argument and some decision making, whether the full stop should be carried forward or should be removed. Because this line here, now it was here in this great golden dawn, actually has a link with the previous line. Swiftly the fatal day came striding on. Swiftly the fatal day came striding on. And now it was here. Now it was here. That it would stand for fatal day. That it would stand for fatal day. But if the fatal day has disappeared, then to what you link that it? Because it has gone now 6 cantos back, you see. 7 cantos back, you see. In my opinion, if the link is missing between this and the previous line, the fatal day, you want the line numbers? Canto, Book 8? Book 8, first line itself? Yeah. Well, this is the complete transcription of what we have got here. Is it clear enough or I want to enlarge? You can read. Their careless glories, those seem to her indifferent doom in heartless splendid glad. Their careless glories, actually there is a comma after that. Those seem to her indifferent from in heartless. Now, something of this equivalent lines is present at the end of Canto 1 of Book 7. Of Book 7. So the connection is between what we have got at the end of Book 7 and Book 8 here. Now, of course, because I don't have the facsimile of the previous page, I can't link up that thing directly, but you can see it. So now what is here is, their careless glories, those seem to her indifferent from an heartless splendors clad, who hid, who stands for doom, who hid with his bright hand the death of joy. That is a sentence. Swiftly the fatal day came striding on. The fourth line here.
Could you say where it is 115, 50? It doesn't say that in 101.
No, this part, these few lines will be the corresponding to what we have at the end of Canto 1 of Book 7.
This is not there.
Is equivalent. I'm not saying exactly. It's not these lines there. Is there? We'll see that thing again. Yeah. I'm just pointing out here at the moment. Yeah. So here, then now it was here in this great golden dawn. Book of Death, what Shevandu said, plus those two tick marks here. The problem is about this full stop, which is there in the manuscript, but which is not there in other editions apart from the revised edition. Basically, what I would say is that because it is standing as an independent book now, without the linkage with the previous passage here, now it was here in this great golden dawn, goes pretty well with what we have at the end of the book of Yoga, Canto 7. It was here in this great golden dawn. Savitri was told to annul herself totally and only so that only God be. She was told to annul herself completely so that only God be. She was told that. She has done that part of yoga. It would mean that she would have disappeared now into the absolute. She would have vanished from this creation. She would have lost the purpose of her taking birth here. Had she totally gone and dissolved into the absolute, that would have been the end of Savitri's mission. But then, at that point, the ancient mother clutches her child back, as we have seen earlier. The ancient mother, the mother of the earth, the mother of evolution, of this creation here. It is she who is pulling her back. Savitri, you cannot go. You cannot disappear from this creation. You have work to do here. You must perform that work here. She pulls her back from getting merged into the absolute. And therefore, when that, now it was here, gets linked to that. In this great golden dawn, the links point, by her yet sleeping husband lay she gazed. So she is with her husband in the night, and she is gazing at it. Into her past as one about to die, looks back upon the sunlit fields of life, where he too, I am reading this passage, yeah? This is the transcription of what we are here. Now it was here, this great golden dawn, by her yet sleeping husband lain, she gazed into her past as one about to die, looks back upon the sunlit fields of life, where he too ran and sported with the rest, lifting his head above the huge dark stream. This is what she sees now, about the dark stream. Before he plunges down, he disappears into the dark stream. She lived again the whole year in a swift and eddying race of memories. Then she rose and service done, bowed down to the great goddess simply carved by Satyavan upon a forest stone. This is the exact transcription of what we have here. What prayer she breathed, her soul and Durga knew. This is the way Shevandu has spelled the word Durga in the earlier manuscript. This is the way he has spelled Satyavan in the Arya period, you see. Later on, he spelled Durga, D-U-R-G-A.
But in the first edition, it's still double.
Pardon?
Double O.
Yeah.
In the first edition.
Yeah, Durga. Yeah. Now, Sri Aurobindo was wanted that thing to make it kind of soft also for the English pronunciation. Sutyavan. Instead of making it hard. Satyavan is too harsh for see, English here. See, yeah. What prayer she breathed, her soul and Durga. Now, of course, there are a lot of interesting things here, but that we'll see later on. Simply carved by Satyavan upon a forest stone. This statue of Durga is there, carved by, he is a sculptor. Satyavan is a sculptor. He has made the statue of Durga, and Savitri is worshipping Durga. Durga is the one who gives the protection against all difficulties, all the obstacles. She removes all the obstacles. What it means that Satyavan is a sculptor, basically, you see. Without mentioning that, you see, he is a sculptor. Which also means that, you see, in the Mahabharata story, Vyasa Savitri, Satyavan is shown as the painter who draws horses. Chitrashva, Ashva, Chitra, picture. He draws the pictures of horses. He is shown there as a painter. Sri Aurobindo has transformed him into the painter of horses, from the painter to the sculptor. See? Because he has to deal with stone, with the material things. See? He has to deal with the material things. See? So that is the brief background. We'll discuss this in more detail next time, because there is a lot of material around that. We'll take it up again. As we now start the text, we'll take up this again next time.